The people watched as the first shackle would be released from Solomon Grundy. The first key, the key of Monday. For Luthor, he was able to quickly deduce the power that the Valkyrie had given Grundy. Whatever it was, it corresponded with the famed nursery rhyme that went with his origins. It seems that your Valkyrie sister, Luthor had said, is attempting to use Grundy's own history to his advantage. But what significance could that be, though? Gaul would say. I mean, if there are 7 keyholes on those shackles, the ball and chains, what will unleashing each key do? I believe it will give Grundy a distinct power. For look, the sky, it begins to move in a blur, as if night and day will all be gone in a moment. Yes, the power of the first key, the key of Monday. This power would correspond with the nursery rhyme of Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday. When the first key is unlocked from the shackle, it gives Grundy a special power. With this power, for 1 Earth minute, Grundy is given the strength and power of every mortal that was born on a Monday. Of course, this would have a bit of a discrepancy, as there are some worlds that don't acknowledge Monday as a day in particular. This power is only limited to the planet that Grundy came from, the planet Earth. But you can imagine that in all of mankind's history, the number of people that were born on a Monday, safe to say, a power of that magnitude, with a number that couldn't be counted. Grundy would feel this strength imbue him, the power of every mortal that was born on a Monday. Even for Thor, the amount of power that Grundy was giving off was staggering. Sure, 1 mortal on their own, it wouldn't even harm a god in the least. It would be the equivalent of a tiny gnat attempting to do damage to a giant beast. But when you have enough gnats come together, when you have enough grains of sand, when you collect enough stones, you can create something powerful, something mighty, something divine. Thor would be given that power of divinity, as for 1 minute, Grundy would beat down Thor mercilessly with the power of every mortal that was born on a Monday. Once the minute time limit had been reached, the power would fade from Grundy as he returned back to his original state. This would cause Thor to get on the defensive. Seeing that much power that came from Grundy the first time, he knew he'd have to act fast. Thor would summon Mjolnir once more, as he would call forth divine lightning, using it to electrocute Grundy, shocking him to death. Of course, for Thor, he thought that incinerating the beastly zombie would be enough, that this would lead to the second and the final death. But with each death, a new power would arise. The second key, the key of Tuesday. This power, corresponding with the second part of the rhyme, Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday. This power gave divine protection. As a baby who was christened, so too would Grundy be christened with a divine protection against any mythical power. As such, the power of Thor would have no effect on him at all, granting him nigh invulnerability for 1 minute. Grundy would use this to his advantage, as he would use the ball and chains and wrap them around Thor before swinging him around like a rag doll, beating him to and fro. Meanwhile, inside of Grundy's own mind, the man who was known as Cyrus Gold would now be in communication with the Valkyrie Rond Grizz. With each key that was unlocked, so too was more of Grundy's past, the past of his origins, of the day that he was born, of the day that he was christened. He was beginning to awaken, to learn more of himself, to learn of his true origins. Once the minute time limit had passed up, the second power would fade from him. This now led Thor in a more beaten state to attempt to use his power to strike down Grundy once again, as Mjolnir would transform into a powerful battle axe as he slashed it across Grundy, cutting off both of his arms and both of his legs, before using that battle axe and burying it straight into Grundy's skull, believing that cracking his head in half would finally be enough to rid him of the beast. But yet the third key, the key of Wednesday, Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on a Wednesday. This power, a double power of union, of holy matrimony, when two beings would become one flesh. This was the power of the third key, similar to the power of the first key, given the strength of every mortal that was born on a Monday. This power would give strength, double the strength. One man, one woman, or maybe another union, a union between a man and a man, or a woman and a woman. This was simply the power of the union of two beings that would become one. With this power, every union that was formed on a Wednesday, that power would be given to Grundy. Double the power. Because it was not just the power of one, but the power of two that became one. This doubling in strength would now seemingly overmatch Thor, and this left the gods reeling, even for Zeus. Mortals were capable of packing that much of a punch. Thor would barely survive the onslaught, as he would call Mjolnir back to his side. Once again, he would engage in combat with Grundy, but something was different. Grundy was starting to gain a conscience. He was starting to become more aware of himself. This is bad, Luthor would think. What are you talking about? Gaul would say. Grundy is starting to awaken. He's starting to gain his memories. I believe that must be one of the side effects of this power. How would gaining memories be a side effect? Because Grundy's strength came from the fact that he was a man with no name, no origin, no purpose. He was a blank slate, a mindless creature. But now that creature is being given a mind. With the mind comes reason. With reason comes doubt. With doubt comes fear. And every other emotion that you can think of. It leads to hesitation. It leads to defeat. The power is a double-edged sword. With each power, Grundy gains more and more of himself, Brunhilde would say. And yet the more he gains, the more he's going to lose, Gaul would say. Grundy would then reach to the fourth key, the key of illness. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on a Tuesday, married on a Wednesday, took ill on Thursday. With this power, the power of illness, it would not be a power given to Grundy, but rather it would be a plague to his enemy, as Thor would feel his body begin to quiver and shake, the very insides of his body feeling as though they had turned into a boiling pot of disease and darkness. Every illness, every disease of mankind would be stricken to Thor, as he would find himself in a state of agony for 1 minute. Grundy would swing through with his ball and chains, knocking away at Thor and smashing him into a newly made crater. as he brought down the large iron balls on top of Thor over and over again. For some of the gods, a look of worry had washed over them. Since when in the hell did the mortals gain this type of power? And even more so, could it not just work on Thor? What about them? If that was the case, then they couldn't allow for this mortal to live. The gods in the crowd would begin to chant for Thor's name, singing his praises, telling the tales of the great son of Odinson, of the one who fought in the Ragnarok of old, who fought against the great serpent and the world ender, the one who battled against the mischief and evil, the one who proved himself a warrior worthy of the halls of Valhalla. They called to Thor, to his fighting strength, that this was not the moment that the tale of Thor would be given in so easily, but this would be a day of conquest, a day that would be remembered, a day when the god humbled the mortal and showed him his true place in the pecking order. Thor would manage to fight through the pain and illness, eventually with his strength returning to him, as the 1 minute time period had yet elapsed. They were already 4 keys in, and Grundy, as he had now started to gain more of his consciousness, he no longer referred to himself as such. The memories of the man that he used to be were now starting to flood back into him. A tale of tragedy and betrayal. The tale of a man who was murdered and left for dead in a swamp. A body that decomposed and decayed, and that what crawled out was something entirely different. A mindless beast that had been used time and time again to cause evil and mayhem. However, in the recesses of his own mind, Cyrus Gold, along with the Valkyrie Rondgriz, found himself looking through the memories of his life, not only through his first, but through his second, the life of Solomon Grundy, the life of the mindless brute that was pulled into one conflict after another, a being with no agency over his own well-being. It caused him to reflect deeply about what he had done. As Rondgriz would attempt to comfort him, the man could find no comfort. This is what his life had become, what his life had been reduced to. I died and became nothing more but a mindless lackey, carrying out the wills and desires of evil men. That's what my life amounted to. Being murdered in a damn swamp, left for dead, and reborn as a monster. I can tell that it is not easy for you, and you're kidding me. This is all I am. This is my legacy. And now what? I'm being used once again by that same bald-headed bastard to fight in a war for people that never gave a damn about me. Why should I care? Why should I even bother? Perhaps you shouldn't. Huh? Were you expecting me to give you some valor speech about how you should fight for the sake of all mortals in the known universe? I am a lot of things, Mr. Gold, but I'm also a realist. This power is meant to be a reflection of the heart, your heart. It shows you the truth, and you reflect your own inner truth, whatever it might be. Good or bad, I am not the one to judge. For me personally, the gods think of themselves as superior, and yet so often they claim that man was made in their image. They claim all of the benefits of humanity, and yet for the evil, they cast it to the side. No one wants to claim that. So, Mr. Cyrus, I do not feel that you are obligated to fight for all mortals. I see you as a tortured soul, a man who has never been given a break a day in his life. But now you have a chance to achieve inner peace. What comes with that is far more than any precious gold or jewel or any power. Peace of mind is security. But even with my peace of mind, my conscience will always be tortured. I have a chance that I didn't have before. I have the chance to choose. You've given me that much, and for that, I'm grateful. What do you wish to do, Mr. Cyrus? I want to fight. But personally, whether I'm remembered as a hero or not, that makes no difference. Although I must say, I don't envy the situation that you find yourself in. You'll most likely be destroyed along with me. And you're a good person, Ron Grizz. I wouldn't wish that upon you. If you want to leave now, you're more than welcome. I'm pretty sure I have the strength. I can figure something out against Thor. I am honored by your gesture. But unfortunately, in the current state that I'm in, I can never return. Either we win or we die. There is no getting around it. But if death is my fate, then let me say, I could think of no finer man that I would rather die with. Grundy would rise once again as Thor simply rolled his eyes. I keep putting you down, but you just keep getting back up, time and time again. Look, Grundy, you're nothing but a mindless brute. You have no agency, no free will. You are called on the machinations of evil. I'm trying to spare you. Why can't you see that? All you have to do is stay down. You think you're standing up because you have will? No. All of this is unnatural. You died a long time ago, Grundy. You need to accept that. You're dead, and you don't even know it. A dead man can't win. Grundy, still standing. You're not. That's not you talking. Not the real you. You're just Solomon Grundy. Born on a Monday. Christened on Tuesday. Married on a Wednesday. Took ill on a Thursday. Grew worse on Friday. The fifth key, the key of Friday, would unlock yet another shackle, allowing for Grundy even more freedom as Thor found himself falling to a knee. The fifth key, the key of Friday, the key of misfortune. It was doubling the effects of the fourth key, double the pestilence, double the disease, because after all, You grew worse on a Friday. Thor immediately fell to one knee. As for Grundy, a faint golden glow started to shine around him. But he wasn't done yet. Died on a Saturday. The sixth key. The key of Saturday. The key of death. The power of every mortal that ever died on earth. Much like the power of the first key, dwarfed by comparison, for with every birth, death would follow, a balance of light and darkness. For Grundy, he had used the power of the light, but now he struck down Thor with the power of the dark. The chains that had been wrapped around his forearms had been freed. No longer restrained, he fought with free movement, his fist bearing down on the god of thunder. He attempted to raise Mjolnir, smacking Grundy across the face with it. But Grundy held firm as he returned fire and began to fire shots at Thor. It was a clash of the titans, the ground beginning to tremble and shake, the very arena reverberating with the shots that were fired between the two of them. Thor channeling the lightning through his fist as he struck back at Grundy, and Grundy, in return, striking back towards the face of Thor. As they continued in their battle, it seemed like neither one would be able to give in. Neither one was backing down. For Thor, he had become enamored to be in the presence of such a man. For a man that he claimed to be dead. For a man who he claimed was nothing but a mere tool, a dead object. He felt something flow through him. The power of life. Because through Grundy, life could never end. You don't get to decide when it's over. Do you hear me, God of Thunder? I will continue to fight. I will fight even when my arms give out. If my arms give out, I'll use my legs. If my legs give out, I'll fight with my head. If my head gives out, I'll bite with my mouth. If my jaw should be destroyed, then I will continue forward. I'll continue until I am nothing, until I am reduced to ash and bone, until I am reduced to nothing but a memory, until I am a memory that is forgotten in the stars. I will never stop. I won't stop until the embers fade, until the wind stops howling, until the sun stops rising, until the moon becomes dark and grim, until the stars fall from the heavens, until the light of the universe fades. I will not give out. Even if my heart stops beating, I will continue. What I am, what I stand for. I am something that cannot die. You can't kill me. You cannot stop me. Even if you delay me, the grave, it can never control me. I am the one. I am the eternal. I have lived for countless centuries, and I will live again because my spirit, my drive, my will, it won't die out. Is that so? Thor would say. You truly have spirit, Grundy. But that is not your true name, is it? You have fought for your enlightenment. You know the truth. Now I ask you, give it all. Give it all to me. Truly test your mettle against the might of the gods. Tell me, who are you? Cyrus Gold now stood as Ron Grizz took his hand firmly. It looks like we've finally reached the end. It appears so. But what now? Once you release the final shackle, all will be revealed. It is a one-way street, however. There is no coming back from this. I figured as much. But if I'm being honest, I think I've had my fill of living. I think I'm ready to move on. Well, allow me to accompany you. Mr. Gold, please, call me Grundy. The final key would fall to the hand of Solomon Grundy as he reached to the final shackle and collar around his neck, as he turned the key and said his final piece. Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on a Tuesday, married on Wednesday, took ill on a Thursday, grew worse on a Friday, died on a Saturday, buried on a Sunday. You ask for my name, God of Thunder. But why ask such a question when you already know who I am? I am Solomon Grundy. The seventh key, the key of burial. The key of burial, a name that is misleading. When this key is opened, one buries their own past, their self-doubt, their troubles and their worries are all left behind in the grave. Who they once were, that time comes to an end. But they look to the future for who they can be. Solomon Grundy would transform, decreasing in size, but yet his power remained, until he seemed as though he were no bigger than the average mortal man, covered and basked in a great golden glow, a shining aura, his true self. So, this is your true power, and for 1 minute, there's no point in focusing on the past, Thor Odinson. For now, we live only in the moment. Thor and Grundy would clash for the final time, the sparks of their aura colliding. For 1 minute, the power of divinity versus divinity in its purest form, in the thrill and the heart of combat. But when that 1 minute had came to a close, the people watched as Thor held in his arms the lifeless body of Solomon Grundy. And yet, even in death, he died with a smile on his face. You are indeed a worthy opponent, Thor would say. Truly worthy of my admiration. I pray that the All-Father will grant you mercy in your next life, and that you will find yourself in the banquet halls of Valhalla. Let the tales be told of the battle that we fought on this day. I promise, Solomon Grundy, you will always live on, and you will never be forgotten. Of course, the gods would cheer in their victory as they claimed the first win in the Ragnarok. And even for the mortals, even in defeat, a newfound respect was given. A man had found his redemption. He found himself. And he achieved something that many in their lives never get the chance to. He found his peace. Of course, for Gull and for Brunhilde, they mourned the death of their sister Randgriz. But they knew that they must still their hearts, because the battle was far from over. Luther, however, remained composed, his expression not changing one and the same. It was hard to gauge what he felt in that moment, if anything at all. But he was a cold and calculating man, and knew only the next war. With that, the first round of Ragnarok would be brought to a close, but now the second was on the horizon. Luthor had analyzed the first battle, gauging how this was going to play out, and once he knew who the next god was, he already had a candidate in mind. He'll be absolutely perfect for this. You could say this is something he's been looking forward to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, gods and goddesses, people of all ages and centuries, we now begin the second round of the Ragnarok. Now, standing to my right, representing the gods, he is the god of the seas, the wielder of the three-pronged trident, the master of the oceans and everything that lies within them. He is the deity that came from the Titan Kronos, the brother of Zeus and Hades. I give you the god of the seas, Poseidon! The gods would once more cheer as Poseidon made his way to the arena as it had now been restored. A valley of water being placed around it specifically for this occasion. Let's get this over with, Poseidon would say. I got better things to do than waste my time around here. Bring out the would-be mortal so I can skewer him. You have someone in mind? Brunhilde would say. Of course. He really hates people like Poseidon. And with the trident and the blonde hair, oh, this is going to be a classic. And now, standing to my left, representing the mortals, he is a pirate of the seven seas. He is a one-man army, the merchant of the deep. I give you, mortals, your champion, the Black Manta! Stepping in black armor, with a large helmet of silver and chrome, and two glowing red eyes, the Black Manta had been called. Lex, you son of a bitch. You called me here to fight Fish Boy? No. Not Fish Boy. The guy that Fish Boy and his crew worships. You. Have some respect, mortal. You stand in the presence of Poseidon. Nah, I stand in the presence of a motherfucker that's about to be turned into a platter of fish and chips. I already hate you, and you're kind. I hate everything about you. So this is gonna be good. And tell you what, Lex, whatever reward you got, you can keep it. 'Cause this one, it's on the house. Everyone prepared and braced themselves. The first round was already a doozy, and this one was gonna be no different. The second round of the Ragnarok is underway. The god of the sea, Poseidon, versus the merchant of the deep, Black Manta. And now, let the second round of the Ragnarok begin! This concludes Record of Ragnarok, Legion Wars. What if the Legion of Doom fought in the Ragnarok? Season 1, Part 3. As always, if you enjoyed today's video and everything else that we have to offer, then please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for post notifications so you can stay up to date on everything that is PowerCore Productions and Podcastings that's to come out now and in the future. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video as we continue with Record of Ragnarok Legion Wars. What if the Legion of Doom fought in the Ragnarok? Season 1, Part 4. But anyway, that's going to do it for the end of today's video. I'm Javon Harrington with PowerCore Productions and Podcastings, signing off, and I'll see you next time.